if you can go back to the day I was born, what advice would you give yourself regarding raising me?
To know that you're a firecracker. You come out of emergency rooms. Boom. When you're ready to come, you just pop right on out.
I think that's why I can't sit still now.
I know you can't.
I'm always so anxious, ready to go.
Always. That was a really good question. Ooh. Do your best impression of me.
I think my best impression is like, because I was so busy as a teenager and I had a mouth all the time, I felt like I needed to explain myself. I was always on punishment. So
Are you saying this?
You always be like, say one more thing. You're grounded. You're grounded. Say one more thing. Describe a true story of us. Yeah, describe a story of us.
A true story?
Yeah, the true story.
Probably when I lost you to foster care. That was truth on itself, in my face, and I had to do everything I could do to get you guys back. So that's truth. And I'm just, sorry you had to go through that because you shouldn't have had to. But God is good, and I thank him because I was able to get you guys back, I really thought that I had lost you guys. For a minute that it didn't seem like I could do anything about it. And I found my inner strength, and I found that I could do anything I wanted to do if I just put my mind. And that's what I did. That's how I got you guys back. Thought I was gonna die when I lost y'all. But I'm very grateful. We have come a long way. Very long way. And I thank you for being the daughter that you are. You're forgiving, you're understanding. And I know that if nobody in this world loved me, I know you guys love me. And I never have to look for love. I have it every day. And I'm very grateful.
I love you. I thank you so much. I can only imagine how tough it was being in the situation that you were in. But I know thinking about just everything and, in the 80s, they didn't have the stuff they had for me when I was growing up. Like, things to help you to know, like, the causes of, substance abuse and stuff like that. Y'all didn't have the support that we had. And, it was just a rough time. And that's why I've never held it against you, because I know that you've always done the best you could. And, and you're always trying. You're so resilient and so strong, And I love you so much for that.
I love you too. Okay. What's one experience you wish we never shared?
I think definitely, of course, us having to leave you. Mm-hmm. I think it was, the longest 4 years of my life.
Yeah, me too.
And, it's like this sense, like this hole, because it's like, and then you start to think in your head, at least for me, was like, dang, was there something I could have did differently so that I would be with my mom right now? I remember like just being in church while we were in the foster home and just like praying. I was always praying. Like I would pray before I go to bed. And pray when I was walking to school. Pray on my lunch break. Constantly praying. You know, that God would just like heal you and that you would get better. You know? And I just, you know, it was just like one of those things. I'm just like, man. And then once it hit like, you know, once I was in the 9th grade, I was like, well, I might as well start buying my stuff for my senior year because this is where I'm going to be, you know. And the happiest moment was when the social worker came to the school and he called me in like he always did. And he was like, hey, you know, you're going back with your mom at the end of the school year. And there was so many different, you know, feelings, excitement, being nervous. And I'm just, you know, it's one of those things where I wish it didn't happen, but I feel like if it didn't happen, kind of like the butterfly effect, right?
Yeah.
Like if it didn't happen, like we'd be in a different space. And I really love, just when we came back to just like, I would watch you sometimes, I'm like, man, she's so strong. And even sometimes when I would have moments of weakness, I would say, wow, like I need to be as strong as my mom, you know, like because you're so resilient. You've been through so much and, you know, and you just keep pushing no matter what comes your way. Even if it knocks you down for a little bit, like you just get back up and you just keep going. And it's just like one of those things that I just adore and admire about you.
I know, baby. You know, I feel like when you said that you wish it never happened, but in a way, it happened for a reason. You guys' prayers brought me off those streets and just changed my life. I had something to fight for. Because in the beginning, I was so devastated. I just wanted to lay down and die. And I went through that program and I found my strength. And I knew I had to hit the ground running. I had to because you guys were strong too. You know, no, it wasn't easy on you. It wasn't easy on me. You know, but when I got to that program, if they would have told me to take a toothbrush and get in a corner and just scrub it until it became clean, I would do that. Because I knew that was my way back to you guys. And I'm very grateful for that. And you guys are awesome. I appreciate you.
We love you.
Okay. When are you most worried for me and why?
All the time. You know, like you're my mom. So it's like, you know, I'm just so grateful. I have friends, you know, who don't have their mothers anymore. And I know some kids who are in foster care that will never have a relationship with their mothers, you know. Yeah. So I am like one of those, you know, I want you to be healthy. I want you to be safe. I want you to be happy. So those are things that I think of often. You know, I'm constantly feeding you vitamin C and multivitamins and green juice, all that. And vegetarian food, and, you know.
Yeah.
Don't put salt on that. Don't do that, you know. You know.
I appreciate that, though.
Like a protector. I never want to be in a space where I say, I wish I would have, you know? So I'm going to keep knocking on your door, dropping off beet juice and green juice.
I know.
And
I love you for it.
So,
I love you for it.
What scares you most these days that I may not be aware of?
Well, the one thing I do think about, and I don't know if that's a 60 or 50 kind of thing, but you do think about it. Can you live for 50 more years? Can I get 50 more at this run?
Make it 70.
Yeah, let's go make it 70, you know? But I don't really, I don't fear dying. I don't fear anyone, so I don't know if I have a fear. Mm-hmm. What is your greatest fear that I don't know about?
I wouldn't say fear, but it's something I think about often. You know, I'm not, the youngest chicken in the bunch. I'll be 38 in January, and I don't have any children. I know you want a grandchild.
Yes.
I don't have any children.
I'm only asking for one.
I know.
I'm not greedy.
And, I'm not married. So those are two things that I definitely want you to be around to see.
Yeah. Me too.
For you to have a relationship with your grandchild whenever that may happen. And for you to be able to see me walk down the aisle.
Absolutely.
Those two things are like two things that I often think about. It's on my mind a little heavier than it was a few years back.
I understand that.
Yeah. That's pretty much it.
Okay.
If this were to be our last conversation, what's one thing you'd never want me to forget?
How much I respect and honor and admire you and love you so much. I would never, ever want you to forget any of that.
For me, I would want you to know that I love you with every beat of my heart, every ounce of my soul. Your presence brings my spirit joy every day. Every day I see you, I adore you so much. I thank God that He allowed you to be my mother. Good, bad, ups, downs, hiccups, punishments, grounded. I'm just I get so overwhelmed with joy, in the morning when I take moments of gratitude, and I just, I'm so grateful to have you in my life, There's just always a lot of moments, like you're a mommy's mom, you know what I mean? You're like, just all the time. What do you need? What do you need to do? You need me to do this? You need me to go to the post office? You need me to do that? Yeah. You're just always so, just such a good mama. And, I appreciate it. I love you. I adore you for it. I thank you for just being an awesome mom.
Thank you, baby.
Yeah.
And I you for that. Thank you, sweetheart.
Hey everybody, thank you so much for being here. It's Nick from The Skin Deep, and I just wanted to let you know that, these conversations are all facilitated by our questions, and we've taken those questions and put them into the end card game. So if you want to have more meaningful conversations, if you want to start deepening the connections in your life, go to shop.theskindeep.com to check out our card game and all the other stuff that we're doing. So thanks so much.